here's the Buddha. He says, live in joy and love, even among those who hate. Enjoy it, life. Live in joy and health, even among the afflicted. Live in joy and peace, even among the troubled. Quiet the mind, tend the heart, free from fear and attachment. Know the sweet joy of living in the way. And so I want to talk about this a little bit. You know, when the first of Donald Trump's laws or executive orders barring immigrants from the 7 predominant Muslim cultures came, and all these people were stuck in the airports, and it was only changing the vision of the USA from a place of refuge and a lamp, a beacon of freedom and caring to one of, you know, barring people and prejudice against Muslims and so forth. So I went down to the San Francisco International Airport for the demonstrations with my daughter, who is a young asylum lawyer who her organization, Oasis Legal Services, gets asylum for people, primarily LGBT, this organization, whose lives are in danger from around the world. A gay guy from Uganda who'd be stoned to death if he was sent back, or, you know, a lesbian woman from Guatemala where the gangs found out she didn't like boys and raped her, and, you know, all these things. So Caroline, my daughter, went down with a whole bunch of young lawyers to help. There were more lawyers there than there were people, you know, behind that immigration was holding. So then they put up signs, anyone need immigration help? It was beautiful. So there's all these demonstrations and the usual things, you know, with their signs and people shouting and the chanting, no ban, no fear, refugees are welcome here, and so forth. So then we went to one gate, 400 people were there chanting, and it was an exit gate right by immigration. And in the middle was a New Orleans jazz band. And so as everybody's chanting, no ban, no fear, the drummer kicks in and kind of gives them a little background rhythm. Then the sax player plays this great riff as it goes on, and the trumpet comes in and on top of it and plays. And pretty soon we're all chanting, but it's this beautiful New Orleans jazz chant, no ban, no fear, and everybody's dancing to it, and the cops are dancing. I mean, it was really fabulous. And it took what was a antagonistic energy for some people and made it into art. And everybody could feel the love. They knew we were there. They knew we cared. If anything, it was more visible. But it wasn't this old, you know, I mean, demonstrations have their place, but they're kind of an old form. I'm all for looking for new forms, because you see a demonstration on TV. Okay, there's another. The big ones like March, Black Lives Matter, or, you know, March for Our Lives are powerful. But the truth is that in last January, a year ago, there were hands around Lake Merritt in Oakland, 5,000 or 10,000 people. I'd like to do hands around the White House, 100,000, 200,000 people, clergy and children, hands around Congress. It's a very different archetype and image that we're together in this. So what was there in the airport, what was so true, we tend to be focused on the suffering, and we tend to be loyal to the suffering. Like, okay, that's where my life has meaning. This is Molly Ivins, who's a great activist and an author and so forth. She says, so keep on fighting for freedom and justice, beloveds, but don't forget to have fun doing it. Be outrageous, rejoice in all the oddities that freedom can provide and produce. And when you get through celebrating the sheer joy of a good fight, be sure to tell those who come after how much fun it was. And so, you know, yes, a person can make a difference and needs to. And our job is to quiet ourselves and then to reach out and mend the part of the world that we can mend, to lend our voice to the place that we can, to touch it, and have a good time instead of, oh my God, you know, I can't sleep at night. And I mean, there are times when that's true. I'm not trying to take that away. When people, you know, when we get so touched by what's happening and the pain of it to animals, to the earth, to children, to human beings. And we want to stand up, and it's really good. But we have a bigger task. We actually have to give birth to a humane and vast consciousness. And that with the outer technology of the world has become so extraordinary that we have the great Library of Alexandria in our pocket, along with, every bad cat video that was ever made. And we can talk to people, climbing in Peru from our restaurant on a boat in, the South Seas. It's just extraordinary in a generation or two. But the technology isn't going to stop continuing warfare and continuing racism, continuing environmental destruction. What is needed on this earth is not so much activism as it is a change of consciousness, because all this is born in the human heart. And you who are listening and we can be part of, can awaken to this change of consciousness. And then we do the same thing. We go to the airport, or we go to, an environmental group and support and saving the oceans or whatever it is. But we do it because we love it, not because we're out of guilt or grief or anger. The only force that's going to really change the world is a change in consciousness. That's the reality.